Hello, welcome back to the Research Cat. We're doing a playthrough of a educational style game, and this is our third recording in. Let me get started here, and then once they're running around, I can just kind of go over what we were doing for those that are just joining, along with what we need to get done in today's video. Oops, not that one. Okay. Well. I got a space-saving keyboard, but the lights go out, and I can't see the keys, so I frequently get the wrong keys when I haven't used the keyboard for a little while. All right. This is really a playthrough aimed at new players or people who are looking for something different to be able to try. We have the bedrooms put together, and we got the farm together last time. We're addressing our oxygen, which is still pretty sad, but we'll try to get that fixed up today. We just need to get some more plants down there, and we have problems with the encroaching cold down here and the warmth coming up from over here. So we have some temperature problems that we really have to address. We don't have a lot of space here to build a giant base until we address these temperature issues. And one of the ways that we're going to address it today is to go in and work on the power up here. As always, if you have any comments or any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. And I am not claiming to be an expert at this game, so if you say, you know, I think that there's a better way to do this, completely, I agree. And the goal of this game is not, at least in my playthrough, is not necessarily to be able to be a show you that this is the correct way to do it, but rather to show you that these are the kind of problem solving that can be done inside of this game. We're only taking narcoleptics in this. We don't have any of those, so we can either take some seeds or this, I don't know, three-eyed chicken thing, and I'll take the three-eyed pufflet. So we'll put that into the base. We're also going to research, and we researched some plumbing to help with the temperature. This would help. It would also help with the oxygen here. So we really should get those, but I also need to get the power done. So I'm going to do the power. Oh, I have the power done. I forgot what I was doing. Okay, well, with that in mind, we are going to get this air then going. Okay. And then after the air, we'll try to get the decorations together and some other aspects to this. I want to bring this down. So our main task today is to try to get this power up. And I guess since we have researched that in the last game, what we will do is set up 3 batteries. And 3 power generators. And then we can start running the circuits. So we're going to have one circuit that's going to come down and do both this area and the pumps for it. We're going to need a kitchen. And I haven't really figured out where I want the kitchen, but I do want it somewhere near the water area. So I think what I'm going to do is put the kitchen up above this tank, or maybe under here. Maybe I'll put the kitchen here that's close by the farms and We'll have the mess hall down in this section somewhere, and so this seems like a pretty good area to put it. I think we can put the mess hall here without getting into too many problems of that. So we'll put in a refrigerator that's under the food panel, and a grill, and a masher or musher machine. We'll tie all of these things together, and we'll run that from this circuit here. And we'll put that circuit here. And I'm going to just delete this. Okay, so then we only have the food on this next circuit here. And then the last circuit, I'm going to have the machines built but not running yet. And I'm going to leave that for the manufacturing. The manufacturing can get hot with the machinery running. And so when we're a little bit closer, we'll put it out up in here, and this will help cool it off. I also need to know what this thing is, so we should really run something up there. Let's see, where is that here? So let's put a ladder there. Okay. And we'll dig this out. I don't have the digging ability. All right. A little extra challenge. So we'll have to get somebody with the dig command for specialty there. And we also need to put in a compost heap. And I'm going to put the compost heap right over in this space here. We also have a bonus here. Unfortunately, there's probably very little airflow at the moment, but we can actually run this ladder down here, and then as they go through there, they'll get a bonus. Let's see how that works for us. Yeah, I think that'll work. It'll be a little chilly, but they'll manage. And this tree we'll dig out since it's dead anyway. We'll replant it in a different area. So I'll have to get somebody on digging. We're probably going to, in the next section, prioritize, and then I'll show different ways that one can set up a schedule for it. Sometimes I watch other people play this game on YouTube, and I see that they do large sweep commands. You can use this command over here, and you can sweep up a room at a time. That is nothing wrong with that. Personally, I prefer to have a couple of storage units, which I think I'll put right on up here. And then I just assign somebody the job of filling up the storage. So this way, as soon as they get caught up, we don't really have to worry about food right now. I'd like it to be a little bit higher so that we bring new people in. And I'm still concerned about our water, but we're circulating the water right now. If we go to the plumbing panel, we're just moving water down and up. We're using a little bit for the plants, but it's a system that will kind of keep these things growing here. I don't know, we don't have any oxyfern seeds there. We do have a few more plants that we can put here. And if you're the kind of person that really likes trying to figure out efficient solutions to how things work, I think you'll really like this game. There's an oxyfern over there and some food, so we should start to worry about getting down into this area. And I don't want to end up where we lose our toilets, so I'm going to raise the priority so that they will clean these out. Somebody came out to do it, because your default tasks are 5. And so if you're brand new to the game, you don't have to worry about it till you get into a little later. But by taking certain tasks, and I want to make sure there's no accidents, we would take care of those tasks by giving them, say, a slight priority 6. And this way you can set up different priorities as you're doing your tasks. Now, we're having some problems with things not growing over here. It's probably due to the airflow. Yes. And so we're going to really have to address the oxygen. And so we have 2 choices. We can keep trying to get the plants set up here of these oxyferns. They're creating 31.3 grams per second. If we can get this whole row filled, I think it will oxygenate our base. Or we're going to, it's telling me I don't have enough right now, or we're going to have to dig over here, and that's a more difficult dig. In fact, I don't know that I have the digging skill to get there. No, I do not. So those little red hats are telling me that I need increased digging skill. So we're going to keep working on our oxygen. Now, because we're going up into this area anyway, I'm going to break into this zone. And I'm also going to extend my power deck, over. My hand-eye coordination apparently needs a little work. And you'll see that I usually put a single one over here. I've tried a couple different plans. You can have instead of running multiple ladders up, because that involves more material, you can put on, because they can jump across one, you can have, instead of a 2 wide, you can have a 3 wide. Put the ladder in the middle, space on either end, and that will allow a nice airflow. But we're going to put in a gas system that will distribute gas once we are generating enough oxygen. Right now, 5 plants just isn't making it. The game is actually a little more generous. I was reading a report on what it would take to colonize and have, plants, and just to support one person is like 700 mid-sized leaves in one area. So they're fairly generous here in our forced farming that we're doing. The problem with getting down into here is without any way to block off the air and move air around, we're going to end up having the carbon dioxide come down into here and not up here, and these plants need that carbon dioxide. So it's a matter of just figuring out what we need. There is oxygen here, so if it becomes desperate and this purple starts to turn into red, we'll have a problem. The red up here is largely because the gas has no way to escape, and we'll try to address that through these airflow panels. So if I can put one in this room and one in each bedroom, now, you don't want to do long versions of them, like turn an entire floor into it, not just because of the material, but because it has a decor goes down to -5. That's not terrible, but it also is you don't want to put in more than you have to on it. I am going to put them here because they won't let liquids go through. It only allows air. That's the difference between these tiles and these, which allow liquid and air. This way, if there's a spill of some sort up here, it won't go down all through the entire farms. And these mesh tiles also have a decor penalty. So having long rows of these permeable tiles becomes a problem when you're trying to get the morale pretty high, which is what you need for your later skills. Now, they finished the research. They're very efficient in their research. I'm going to put up here, don't care that much about this stuff at the moment. This is your space heaters and your ice makers, but what I do care about is the insulated tile, and we'll try to keep that the base from either freezing or cooking, depending upon where it is. There's a lot that goes on in the game, and as you experiment and play around with it, you're going to be able to create some really elaborate systems. There's also some mods for the game. Typically, I don't play with mods until after I've managed to beat the game the way that it was meant to be played, and then I start playing around with the mods. So I play with mods on, say, XCOM 2 or Darkest Dungeon or Grim Dawn, because I've played through the game at least once on a moderately hard difficulty. XCOM 2 I've put in, I don't know, thousands of hours. So I've really, I play with some crazy mods there. Christopher Odd had a mod set, and as he went through, I went through. I could not compete with his list. The aliens definitely won on that playthrough. I should also have these air tiles that I was putting in. I should put I'll put a couple up on top. I think that having these air tiles here, the wood burners create a lot of carbon dioxide, and so when they start putting out this, you're going to have, I don't want that to build up. I want that carbon dioxide to come right down to the bottom of these farms. And as the carbon dioxide comes down, it will naturally push the oxygen up higher. So we'll get a little bit of transfer in here, but not necessarily tons of it. Okay. I hit a wrong key there. Okay, let's see if we can get these people. We were building a compost, and if we dig this out, we're going to lose our park bonus without a door. So I'll have to put a door in. As we get more people, it becomes a little bit easier to get them to get tasks done. But on the other hand, it becomes a little more difficult because one problem with this game, particularly into the mid-game, is that when their problem develops, it becomes like dominoes. It cascades and becomes a real problem. We don't have any narcoleptics. We're going to stay with our self-challenge here, so we're going to just take nutrient bars for food. And they should move them over here. As they start building, which they're building the wires up here now, that will help out. Because I'm most concerned about air, I'll do a priority on some of these air tiles. I'm most concerned about the ones in their bedroom. And the problem with the narcoleptics is that because they fall asleep at seemingly random times, if you're not careful, they'll fall asleep in low oxygen areas, and then they'll die. So I really got to get that oxygen worked out. But I'll feel better with some of the air tiles fixed up. And then we might have to go for these. I might have to priority. We got the oxygen fern here, but not here. So we may have to prioritize this too to get that one. And I guess it's only that one extra. I'm not sure I have enough plants here in this. I mean, I have this one down here. I don't know. It's going to be a little challenging because I don't really have enough plants. And I don't think they grow seeds from these plants. So I'm just going to have to kind of, yes, I'm just going to have to really hunt for oxyferns in this game. Once you get a base sort of together, one thing to do is to start digging to the left and to the right and down and up on exploration, because then you can find out what else is out there and give yourself a plan on creating it. You can also spend some time. These are the bunker doors I was talking about. We're going to put those here. And I'm going to leave them open on this side because I have this area here. The actually, I don't need these here. I lost now part of my wire. I only need them on the bottom. The bunker doors, they'll give you access, but it blocks both liquid and gas. So this way, the carbon dioxide that gets down here will be trapped for the oxygen up. And then we're going to put in a gas system eventually. I'm not quite sure where to put the gas system, actually. Maybe we could put it here with a sensor. We might do that. We might be able to put a gas system right here also, and with the sensor, and then blow oxygen all throughout the base. We'll have to see. Because of our intermittent power that we have right now only coming from this hamster wheel, you'll see that our plumbing tends to shut off at times and it's not consistent. And this will also be a problem with our oxygen. I think what I'll have to do is the next person who comes up, I'll have to give them a dig skill, and we might just have to go for this algae right in the beginning. At least that will be a temporary measure, but it's not a long-term solution, because if I was to go to the materials overlay and I see this is algae, there's just not enough algae here to sustain the colony. There is some here, there is some here, but that's going to be really difficult to get to at this moment because of the heat. Not only where they'll stress go up, they could potentially die in the heated areas. So I would prefer not to do that. Now we can get in there eventually by running pipes through the cold and circulating cold into the heat and kind of play around with the thermodynamics of the game. But at this moment, that's a little more task than I want to get into. And so our oxygen is, we've turned more purple. I'd really like it to be this color of this blue, this light blue, but I'll take purple, which is barely breathable, over not breathable. The one thing is with these bunker doors here, so that it traps this gas here, we can then send this ladder down and we can get at this area this way. And we can get that set up. Now, once again, I've given them actually too many tasks, and so they can't get all their tasks done. Yeah, we'll take 3 out here, and then we can dig up the food and the oxygen plant, and we have food there. So we'll run a ladder. I don't want to run a ladder there. We'll run a ladder. How about here, down, and my. All right. Don't worry about. I'm not going to worry about this. Eventually, I'm going to have to use this part of the base. Because it's still okay, but I don't want to get into it quite yet. We have to prioritize a little bit. We're going to prioritize survival over having a neat base. It's pretty easy once you get you've accounted for your food, your oxygen, and your water. It's not too hard to then change floors and move it. You can do kind of like a wide scale construction. But we don't really want to do it now. Now, they did do a really good job at cleaning up all the extra water bottles and putting it in here. And so this water should still last for a little while, but I would really like to find another water source. And so potentially this is a water source, and I think we found another one over here. I think it's, well, it's not there. I thought we found another one over here. Maybe not. Well, let me check the materials. So what color is this neutronium? Let's see, if I went to just metals, no. Is it a mineral? See, this is the neutronium, this gray. I would think it would be a metal. So let's see what other metals are around. And it's a metal that shows up that kind of a gray. Well, all right, that makes it even more of a priority to find out what exactly is this. Because I play so many of these games, sometimes they run together and I'm like, I'll remember things from a different game. So, not the best plan. Okay. Well, have we located any? We have. So let's copy the setting. And we can put on any of these areas. There's 2 there, and a 3rd. Okay. And I'm going to put these down as well. And as they do it, we can always trade them for mushrooms later. And actually, this serves no purpose at this moment. And the tree has an issue as well because it needs polluted water. So we'll move this tree eventually. Maybe we can set up a polluted farm with some trees, use our polluted water that way. And we don't need a lot of extra trees there. We can also put a door, just a regular door here, and a airflow tile and regular tile. And then this way we can say this is a park, and we can get another bonus. for morale. I'm cautious on morale ever since I've had some problems because I wasn't paying attention to the morale. Now, this thing excretes slime, which slime can be very useful because you can create algae from slime, but it also can make duplicates sick. So maybe we can trap it up here. And then, because they can't really go through doors very well, so then it won't be in my base. We can have like a little pufflet reserve there. And you can create preserves for your animals. So I'm going to prioritize this. Oops, get away please. I'm going to prioritize this just so that we try to trap it up there. And then the slime won't get all over my entire base. Good. At least that's my plan. Might not work. We have one built. Inside of these storage abilities, you can say you want it to be everything, but you can also say that you want it to be each particular part. And let's say that in industrial ingredients we have lumber, so I can have it be just lumber in this particular one. And then and that just helps me organize and keep track of how much I have of what. There'll be a little scale, and as this fills up, they'll be able to just go to this, carry it over to the plant. They don't have to come get it through all the base. So we have a skills. We have Ren here. Instead of get this high level skill, which we don't need right now, we're not anywhere close to a planetarium. We haven't even gotten out of our starting area yet. We're going to go with the digging. And each one lets you dig into slightly higher, harder substances with a little bit faster as well. So this way, because he can now dig, the some of the red has gone around. He actually needs the second level digging skill as well. And I really kind of need them to dig out this area perhaps and get that oxygen plant. So I'm going to prioritize this as well. I used to prioritize and do like everything at high levels. It didn't really work out very well. So now what I do is I pretty much prioritize only little sections at a time. They're not really going to do it until it's the next day. It's unfortunately nighttime. So that's not going to work out as well. And once we start getting some power plants built up here, I'm going to prioritize one of the people in collecting the stuff to put up in here, which will also clean out some of the stuff that's laying around in the base. I might need a seed storage as well. These things will get into the seeds and then steal them. So I think I can put in a door. The creatures can't operate the doors, although they can sneak through when your people go through. And I think what I'm going to do is just put in a little seed storage right there. That should help keep these animals from getting into my seeds. And then we'll just corner this out where the tree used to be. Okay, now I just need to get them to kind of catch up. Oh, I don't think I ever did put the compost somewhere. Well, let me do that too. Those are our tiles. I don't want to use those quite yet. That's the valves. This is the stuff for when we set up the oxygen, but we have to get it first. This is some of the art stuff, and the utilities are here. So under the refinement, maybe, is our compost. We'll just pop a compost there. And actually, I don't want the compost polluted oxygen to get into my base, so I'm going to change this door to a gas impermeable door. That will help keep that together. Okay, that's because this isn't because we hatched the egg, it's because somewhere on the map inside of our base an egg hatched. So I don't know that we can actually claim credit for that. Okay, we have a narcoleptic here in Abe. And he should be good, we shouldn't use up much of our air. So we'll set that up. I'll get this started and then I'll show how to do a schedule. And I want to have right now just these sensors, because that way we can start with the smart batteries. Up here on the schedule, you can create a whole new schedule. And I'm going to just create 2 schedules right now, but as I start building people out, you can have more. The big thing is that you don't want, if I have 3 bathrooms, which I have right now, I could build more bathrooms for them, because this is when they're going to go to the bathroom. Or possibly over here. I'm sorry, over here they're going to go to the bathroom. And rather than build more bathrooms, it's more efficient to change their schedule. So on this one, I can move Abe and Max. And then when we get another duplicate in, I can move them on this schedule. I'm going to switch their bedtime to be 3 off from this one. So this will be their bedtime. Their bath time will be here. And their downtime will be just before their work time. As we, didn't mean to close it. As we get into more people and we become more complicated and the jobs are more stressful, Abe just came in and he has high stress already. Then by moving, say, 1 extra block, then they have more downtime, and that's more time they can do for things that will keep them at low stress. But I'll just put all consumable ore in there for the moment. But right now, that's not my big priority. And this was the egg, right? Okay. Then we have a skill, and that's going to be Abe. I'm going to put him on the farming because that farming is going to start taking up a lot of space. And this way, I'll only have 3 people using the bathroom at a time. Now we have these morbs inside of, and while they're good for morale, they're not very good because they're going to excrete polluted oxygen and people are going to get sick. So even though I'm actually kind of against it, I'm going to have to kill them. I hate having to kill them, but I'm going to do it anyway because otherwise my dupes will die. So, but it's not totally awful because we'll end up being able to grill the meat once we build our kitchen areas. I just have to get this bathroom cleaned up too. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, part of the interest in the game is that you'll have multiple problems that you have to try to solve. Getting your base, making a cool base is pretty easy. Getting the base to work well is pretty difficult. So I have an oxygen problem with polluted oxygen here. I have a total oxygen problem throughout the base. And I have an issue in trying to get to this now, which we're kind of running out of space. We're just going to have to get over here into the algae. And so I'm going to run a ladder here. They can dig 2 over. So we're just going to dig out most of this. And I give them a little step up, but they're also going to have to prioritize it because I have got to get that oxygen together. And without enough plants right now to do it, it might be a short-term solution, but at least it will get the base somewhat running. Otherwise, we won't have time to address a long-term solution because we'll be, well, dead. And we have our own oxygen issues here too. I think what I'm going to do is put the oxygen I think I can put a plant there, and we can run the power line up and connect with the kitchen. They've already started building a lot of this power line too, so we'll just have to track it up and just start that one particular part. Now I have to be careful about going into this because they can die in the chlorine gas. They can hold their breath. They're not exactly people. They can hold their breath and just kind of wander in and out of it, but it's not really the best area because if they get trapped in it, it's a problem. But the chlorine gas can be useful because it can kill a lot of germs later on. We also have gas over here, hydrogen, which we can use for power. A lot of these plants are used in creating medicines. And then we have pockets of this chlorine all throughout. Oh, and we got some water, which is not. And we have the geyser for it. So this is renewable water, but it's not going to be the easiest to get to. We'll have to go down through this area, I think, and then put a pump. And it's hot water. And then we'll have to cool it down, so we'll have to bring it in through this cold area. It's going to be a bit of a project to get there, but at least since we have it, we can we don't have to worry quite so much about this, which I'm glad for. And then this is slime, so digging through this is going to make the duplicants sick, which is going to knock their stress up. So maybe before we do this, we have to put in a medical area. So the problems just, they keep coming. It's like life. The problems just keep coming. I think we're supposed to operate through these doors, but we're here anyway. We might just go right up straight through and find out what this area is just by going in. You can click on the terminals even though we're not actually there yet, and you can inspect them and it will tell you in email. And so you can view this entry, and they have this little story for it that if you decide you're interested in, you can, you know, play it in your game and do it. I don't really want to spoil the story for you. I've collected quite a few of them over the time. They carry on between the games. So if you, which is a neat little feature that I personally like, so if you're not, this colony dies, which it probably will. Oh, we have a little water here too. But the problem is going to be that as when this colony dies, we go to the next one. I try it out. I don't lose the progress in learning about the story, the little mystery. The story to me is secondary, but I do know that some people really like that. There's no oxygen over here either. So let's prioritize getting our oxygen done. Let's put oxygen here. And then this electrical panel goes to where? Comes up here. This is all built, so it's this one here. So let's also then get this one built. Oh, and a little bit here. Okay, so now they've built that. And while they're doing that, we have one for consumable ore, which we've already done. I'm not going to worry about the eggs right now. They can just hatch away. I'm going to put the soil in one. I have the lumber in one. I'm going to put the metal ore in one. And the organics, what I don't want to do is I don't want to put the polluted dirt or the rot in it. So I'm only interested in putting those two in. I want those other things to be over here in the compost. Otherwise, I'll end up with polluted oxygen problems inside the base. I didn't realize that when I first started, and then I ran into some problems. Okay. We built the ladder outside of our starting area, so we've made some progress. Camille, I'm going to have her continue on the art, and probably in the next time I want to get the power up with some oxygen before we end, but probably in the next time we're going to have to address cleaning up the base and also taking care of trying to read and talk and assign orders. It's not working that well. But I also want to get the artwork up, and then that will help keep our stress low. I've seen that some people don't worry about the stress and still it starts to climb. I don't know that there's any reason that you have to worry about the stress at zero. I just like to keep it at zero throughout the entire time. There's enough other issues going on that I would prefer not to have that. Now this should be powered now. It's just not working. But thank you, Gossman came through again. And now that it's creating oxygen, these plants individually only create 31.3 grams per second. This is going to create 500 grams per second, but the exchange isn't very good because it uses 550 grams of algae, and I just don't have that much here. So there's some, but not enough to really last. But because it gets us over here, it does bring us over to here. These things are very useful because they can cool down large sections of the base at a time. And we have a little bit of water here, which we'll try to get at. So having found this over here is good, and not much there. Okay, and then the ice can also be melted into water as well. And there seems to be a vending machine over here. Huh. Well, okay. I have no idea what that is, but we'll get to it eventually. Well, maybe. I didn't find any other oxygen plants, did I? No. Oh well, that's kind of sad. Max is on the grill. I'm going to have him go up to strength as well. Because we don't need grilling right now, we have enough food at the moment that what I'm going to do is assign Max. You can go to priorities, and I'm going to say that I want Max here to just work on storage. And what he'll do is and I can set it up on which priority I want, or you can turn somebody off of doing something. I'm just going to put him on a standard priority. He's the only one right now. And what he'll do is he will start going through the base and putting things up in here. And then that will start to slowly clean out the base, which can be quite useful. I find that to be a slightly more workable solution than the sweep commands over a large area of the base. This is manufacturing. This will help with our movement, but I think we're actually going to go here. It'll give a little radio. We'll give them a little more stress relief. It sets up a power control station, which I actually haven't figured out how to use yet, but I'm sure that I'll eventually manage. But the smart battery is what I'm actually going to look for, and that will mean that on our power here, we won't have where we're always using a battery, even if we don't need it. And so that can be somewhat helpful, particularly because the hamster wheel here is actually on the same circuit as this thing, which means instead of, I want them loading in wood here, and we're going to turn this hamster wheel off, we might just disable it. You can actually disable them in the panels by coming over, well, all right, not her, but you can you can disable certain things, and you can say, well, and this is one here, I can disable it here and then say don't use it anymore, and we can do that to the machines as well. That'll give us a little bit of a chance. She has high morale. I'm going to improve her construction speed. And we're going to do another, I thought we did a research. Apparently I did not do the research. Good. So they're coming through. The water hasn't gone down very much, so we've done a pretty good job at preserving the water throughout this, because we're only taking the water out that we absolutely need. We haven't done such a great job at finding oxygen plants, and so really I'm going to have to come over this way a little bit more and search, and they'll do that when they start building up this. And then hopefully this is not like a volcano. Okay, not narcoleptic, so we're going to take the oxyfern seed, because I just said we needed another one. We'll plant that in its place. I don't really mind the pips coming around here, and they can plant whatever seeds they want in this area. We'll move them eventually, but right now they're just saving me some work. And you can have these pips and all the animals through that. They can do some work for you, and you can use them. Now, I don't know about this one running around in the water tank, but there is a germ overlay here, and then that shows where your germs are. This is no germs, and I want to keep it that way if possible. The germs are right now in the bathroom area, and so we want to make sure that this doesn't become an issue, but they're not infecting the whole rest of the base. and that's really a good thing. This is not such a great thing, but we've kind of trapped it up here. So that's not such a terrible thing either, because I don't want to kill it in case, because it will produce slime, which will then produce algae, which can produce oxygen. And since we've got this thing running, our oxygen is looking slightly better. In fact, probably next time what we'll do is we'll set up the gas exchange to start moving gas in the base so that we can oxygenate the rest of the base. So we really have, to wrap this one up, we really have a problem with the polluted oxygen here. We have a problem that we don't have enough plants down here to create oxygen. We have a problem in getting to this geyser, which we want to do, and then cooling the water down so that we can use it. We don't really have a food problem, but we do need to also get our manufacturing base together, because eventually, in order for us to win the game, we're going to need to extend all the way up through all of this, and somewhere up here at the top will be where we can get into space. So we've got quite a load on us, and I'd say we're still really in the early game. I wouldn't expect to go into the mid-game around until about turn 100. But they've been working and they're all alive, and I consider that a success right now. And we got some of the power up now, but not all of it. But Max has been putting stuff up in here, so you can see that we've been filling up. We now have 17,000 of the 20,000 kilograms that can go into this basket. Unfortunately, the pip is knocking dirt out, but if dirt gets knocked out up here, I don't care so much. And he's on his sleep schedule because we also changed the priorities. And so one of the nice things, and you'll find in a lot of simulation, tower defense, building games like this, you'll start with only a couple of buttons in the beginning, and then you'll start using more and more, which is pretty much the way that we learn. We learn through small steps, and small steps begin to get bigger results towards the end, which is, I think I just accidentally paraphrased Blue Origin's motto. So that gives you a couple of different of options. If you like this game through and you're enjoying it, please give me a thumbs up in the bottom. And otherwise, I will see you in the next video. This game always has me do like, well, just do one more little thing. Okay.